huge controversy in Peru. Left-wing President Pedro Castillo has been arrested after attempting to dissolve Congress. We're going to break all of this down, but to start, let's throw it back about 30 years. Throughout the 90s, Peru was governed by a right-wing dictator, Alberto Fujimori. He was originally elected, but he dissolved the Congress, judiciary, and really any other check on his power. Needless to say, a very controversial figure. He is guilty of many crimes against humanity. But on the flip side, some credit him with the enormous reduction in poverty Peru has seen since the Fujimori years. Now, I would point out that Bolivia has seen a very similar reduction in poverty over that same period. They took a very left-wing economic approach. In both countries, I'd say it has more to do with a commodity boom than anything else, but now we're getting off topic. One of the lasting legacies of Fujimori's dictatorship is the constitution he established, a notable piece being Article 113. This gives the Congress the ability to remove the president with a simple majority vote for moral incapacity. Needless to say, that is a very vague standard. His power has been leveraged in some very interesting ways. For example, we have this story about one of Alberto Fujimori's sons, Kenji, who was in Congress after his father left office. Kenji was accused of buying off the votes of fellow Congress members to stop the impeachment of one of Peru's presidents. Oh, and what a coincidence! That very president issued a controversial pardon in favor of Alberto Fujimori, who was in prison for crimes against humanity. More recently, this power was used to remove President Martin Vizcarra. Flash forward, and Pedro Castillo is elected president. He defeated another one of Fujimori's kids, Keiko. Castillo is the first person you could really call a leftist to govern Peru in decades. The only issue is he really wasn't able to govern. Congress tried to remove him literally 4 months into office. He survived, and then they tried again 8 months into office. Now, to be frank, it does appear there were instances of corruption with Castillo personally and within his administration. Flash forward, and Castillo announced that they would be dissolving the Congress so they could have new elections and draft a new constitution. This was wrong. Even though Peru's Congress causes a very tumultuous political system, they have now had 5 presidents in the last 4 years. What Castillo did is not how you deal with that, and at face value it looks way too much like what Fujimori tried to do in '92. And just on a practical level, I don't know why Castillo thought he could get away with this. He has an insanely low approval rating. Now, to be fair, Congress has an even lower approval rating. Now, I am someone who was optimistic about Castillo, but I was naive. I thought simply getting a leftist elected would mean there would be progress. You can't just have one person at the top. There needs to be movement behind it, and that takes time. It seems pretty clear to me that the path forward for Peru's left is in the Congress. It has substantially more power than the executive, and it's the only way that any meaningful reform will get done.